Alright, hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Captain Nabs here with you once again. Welcome back, guys. As you can see, we are going back to our old traditional favorites here. So, for those of you that have been watching the channel for the last week or two, first of all, I didn't post anything for about 2 weeks just because I've been very busy at work. But I got a couple of days off, and so I thought I would do something a little bit... I'll just take a step back. I've really been enjoying Microsoft Flight Simulator. The new version is really nice from a scenery perspective, but some of you may have seen me try to fly the A320 the other day, and flying the airliners, certainly the A320 anyways, was a frustrating experience. Mostly because I'm used to some very high quality add-ons now, and that's not something that you get from the default airplanes in Microsoft Flight Simulator, certainly not the default airliners. So it was a little bit frustrating, and I really felt it felt a little bit dirty after that. I need to come back. I need to fly something that's a little bit more in depth. It's going to penalize my performance in my computer, and it's not going to look as smooth. The scenery's not going to be as good. But we are going to go ahead and fly the PMDG NGXU again here. So we are going to continue with a pilot's life. This is going to be a pretty short, straightforward, easy one here. Today's flight in a pilot's life is going to be from Toronto to Montreal. We're just rounding out a triangle. We did Montreal down to Fort Lauderdale and came back to Toronto, and now we just have to finish up this triangle and head back to Montreal. So it's going to be a really quick, short leg. We're going to have some VATSIM ATC online today, so I'm happy about that. We're going to have some ATC. It'll be nice because that's something else that's missing when you're flying Microsoft Flight Simulator. Their ATC system sucks. It's as bad as the ATC system that was built into FSX. It's just got a little bit better voice synthesis, but the scripting is terrible, and it's just a very frustrating system to use. And I'm yearning to use vPilot and VATSIM in the new simulator, but it's just not available yet. You can't do it, so we're not going to be doing that. So we're going to go back to flying the good old P3D here for at least a couple more sessions while we wait for some basic improvements to Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's a great start, but there's lots of stuff that needs to be improved upon. So we are going to hop into the flight deck here and get this flight underway, because I don't want this to be a super long stream. I want to get it done sometime, without too much effort anyways. So let me just pull up my stream really quickly here on my other device so I can see if you guys are chatting with me. That's really why I'm doing this. So if you guys want to chat with me, feel free, and I will do my best to answer. If I can get that. Did it work? There's the chat. But of course it's too loud and you guys are going to hear an echo, and you don't need to hear that. So we're just going to turn that volume right down. Perfect. Okay, so we are back in the flight deck of the 737. Oh, it just feels nice to be back here. It really does. The graphics are not as good, but it works better. And I missed that when I was trying to fly the 320. I really missed how well. And the Aerosoft 320 was not perfect, but it's still a lot better than what Microsoft has done. All right, so we're going to get started here. We are, as always, going to be using the FS2 crew to our advantage here, because that's something else that's not in the new sim, and that's not surprising. It'll take some time to get in there, but I like it, and I want to use it. So let's just check it and make sure everything's configured properly for our flight today. We're pushing back from gate. We do have ASD. We're going to do a flap 15 takeoff. We're going to do derated with assumed temperature. No ETOPS, bleeds on, no anti-ice today. We're getting towards that season soon, but not yet. Takeoff safety, crew change, underweight, SID, good. Okay, that's all good. And let's go ahead and start those pre-flight events.
Okay, let's get this show on the road.
Wow, he's loud. I may have to turn him down a little bit, because, wow, he was quite loud there. What's he at here, audio-wise? Crew volume at 5. Let's go to 4 anyways.
I'm out for the walk-around.
Thank you. I think he's a little bit quieter than me to you guys, but he's still, to me, he seems pretty loud. So I'm just going to turn him down just a little bit more. I don't want him overshadowing me. Okay, so back into this airplane. Let's see if I remember how this sucker works here. First thing we got to do is power it on, and we do have ground power. Oh, definitely it's not as smooth as that new simulator. That new simulator runs a lot better. Of course, I don't know how it's going to run when we get the PMDG product in there. That's going to be something we're going to figure out together, guys. Because I did buy this when they offered their discount. When they offered their little promotion there, so I'm going to get the $100 discount on the new version whenever it comes out. So you can better believe that whenever it does come out, I will be getting my hands on that new version and putting it into my sim pretty quickly. Because that's one thing I'm yearning for in Microsoft Flight Simulators. I'm yearning, really badly for a high-quality airplane. The piston stuff is not too bad. It's not too bad. Wow, this is just very jerky. I've already forgotten how bad this can be sometimes. And Toronto is one of the worst, just in terms of just being a very big cause of lag, because there's just so much scenery here in the Fly Tampa scenery. But anyways, okay. It's starting there. Need to make sure that's down. Do a quick little control check just to make sure that all of my controls are configured properly. They are. Alright, good. And make sure we get that parking brake on. Perfect. Alright, so let's go ahead and call the fuel truck. Let's go ahead and call for catering. And then we can get this show on the road here. Alright, so there we go. We got some screens. Everything's starting to look good. And we're going to go ahead and hop into the FMC like we always do. And it looks like my FMC is already up there. So I'm going to just pause this a little bit here. And I'm going to bring it up the other... Nope, that's not what I'm trying to do. That one. Bring this into the corner here so you guys can see what I'm doing. And so we're going to go ahead and go FMC and start this whole thing up here. Okay, so we got that. Let's get the route. It's pretty straightforward. There's not even any point in really loading it from the ACAR system or from a save file, because it's such a short flight today. It's basically a SID and a star. One waypoint connecting the two, and that's it. There's no other real route to it, so it's very straightforward here. That really looks very... I'm just looking at the webcam there. It just looks really washed out. I'm going to just see if I can adjust the lighting in here. Give me one moment, guys. Alright, that one attempt didn't work. I was having problems with this FMS, with this webcam here. I don't know why. It didn't want to work properly right off the bat. So I'm going to just tweak it a little bit here. Let's see, what can I tweak here? Yeah, let's just see if we can turn. Yeah. Brightness down. Saturation's okay, but maybe just turn the gamma down overall. That's a little better. It's such a poor quality webcam. There's nothing much I can do about it. It's such an old webcam. I really don't even know why I'd bother trying to show you guys this. But I'd just like to show you that this works, that it's a good tablet. I do intend to get a new webcam one of these days. I don't know when. Saving my pennies, but I will get a new webcam one of these days. In the meantime, follow along. You can see what's happening on the bottom left side of the screen here as I pound it onto my tablet here. But in person, it's a lot better. The webcam just does not do this tablet any justice. It's an old webcam. It wasn't working, and it's funny, it wasn't working, and I was trying to find drivers for it. And there is no label on this webcam whatsoever that indicates its serial number or model number other than just the name Logitech on it. And Windows does not even recognize it as anything more than a generic Logitech webcam. Windows doesn't even know what version it is, which probably says something about how old this webcam is. So we're doing the dead key 4 departure, and actually before I get any further, we do have some VATSIM ATC online. We got some Toronto stuff going on here, so let's get the ATIS. Departure runway's 23, the standard these days. Pretty much it's always 23 for departures now. Dead key 4 make low transition off of 23, and then we can do the arrival, Montreal. If I was a betting man, it'll be the ILS 24 left without even looking. PABS 24 MIGLO route, activate, execute. There we go. That's it. The route is programmed. Really wasn't that hard. Now, was that the fuel truck? I heard a beep there. Catering's here. And no, the fuel truck is not here yet. Wow, it's a crowded gate over here, though. Oh, I have to open the doors for the catering. That's what I have to do here. Hold on. Sections, doors, and open the front and aft right doors. There we go. Pop them open, and then they can do their catering bit. Very good. That one. There we go. Oh, you know, it's a little bit low. Anyways, I'm sure you guys can see everything that needs to be seen anyways. Okay. Perfect it. Now I gotta go back to my flight plan. So I don't even need to look at the flight plan to know the route to Montreal. I have flown between Toronto and Montreal enough times in my life. I do not need to look at any stinking flight plan to know how to get from Toronto to Montreal. But in terms of performance data for the day, might need my OFP to help me out with that. There's the OFP. Alright, so first of all, you go to page 3 here, ZFW 55.6. Reserves. Let's see what we got for reserves here. That's on page 1. Add it up, and it's 13 plus 1,000, so that's, I bet you gotta really round it up. So 2.4 reserves to go to Ottawa. Not a whole lot of fuel today, but it's a very nice day, so we're not expecting too much issue on the way there. Cost index of 9. We can probably bump that up if we got a bit of extra fuel. And the cruise wind averaging 253 at 48. There's not too much point in a wind downlink today because, again, it's such a short leg. One fix on the way there is really not much happening. Okay, use the fueling system to refuel your airplane. And so, of course, I just had it up and I just got rid of it. The fuel load we're looking for today is 6.3. We'll round up to about 6.6. So let's do fuel 6,600. And that gives us a little bit of extra. Not a whole lot of fuel, but it's a short hour flight basically, so we don't need a whole lot of extra fuel. So I'm going to see if I can do takeoff 2, climb 2 with a 35-degree D rate. Let's see if this will give me any takeoff numbers that are valid at flap 15 off 23. It does, because 23 is a pretty long runway.
Security and safety checks are all done. Are we good to start boarding?
Yes. Go for it.
Okay.
Boarding is commencing. I did just click request boarding, right? Boarding request. Yeah. Okay, good. So we got about 95 passengers today. Just making sure this is muted itself because it didn't want to see to mute itself there. All right, I'll put that on lock, and it's doing its thing. Alright, so we've got the FMS all set up already. It looks like our IRSs are initialized properly. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this off because you guys have seen this now. It's already all done. Oh, and then it wants me to close the doors here. Catering is done. I don't know why GSX just can't do this by itself. Open and close the catering doors by yourself. Honestly, you close all the rest of the doors in the airplane. Sometimes you just wonder. Why do I have to do this by myself? Everything else seems to work, but I have to do this by myself. Okay, so we've got that all set up. Let's just make sure we've got the guidance panel set here. So we're going to set 49, 100 feet below the proper SID altitude, only because we haven't got the clearance yet. So that'll make sure we get the clearance at the right time. V2's 138, so set 138 on here.
Back from the walk around. Everything looks good.
Thank you. And head 23, so it's heading 237. Perfect. And alarm the flight directors. Arm the auto throttle. And again, I'm going to go back to my ATIS here. We had altimeter 2989. So let's make sure we got that set. 2989. One thing I'm not sure he does is if he tests the stall warning system. So you can't test the stall warning system right after you power up the airplane. It says about 3 or 4 minutes after power up before you can test the stall system, but it seemed to work. So it seems like we got the guidance panel all set here. I'm not going to arm the LNAV or the VNAV for this departure. It's a vector SID, so we're going to fly it the old-fashioned way. Test the lights. Make sure everything's good. Wow. I just can't believe the lag in this sim now. You know, and I have a feeling like Microsoft Flight Simulator, when I get to installing better airplanes in it, will probably start to look about the same. I really do need a faster video card, but I will say that like the new Flight Simulator does a much better job of balancing the load between both systems. Between the CPU and the GPU, it definitely does a much better job balancing the load between the two of them so that it's constantly trying to max both of them, and it frequently does max at least one of them. Alright, so we're just going to get the tower up here. 118.7. Oops. Ah, come on. suppose I'll need a pen for this. Something to write with. A pen and a piece of paper. Piece of paper's full, so let's get a new one. Alright. Let's go look at that tower over there. Nope, can't do it from this angle. Maybe we do it from this angle. There we go. There's the tower in the distance. Toronto Tower, good evening. It's Transat 11, looking for the IFR Clearance to Montreal.
Transat 11, Toronto Tower, good day. Clear to Montreal, deck Q4 departure, Migo transition, flight plan route. Departure runway 23, squawk 6010.
Okay, Transat 11 is cleared to Montreal via the dead key 4 departure, Miglo transition flight plan route. Departure runways 23 and the squawk code 06020.
Squawk would be 6010. Otherwise, feedback is correct. Departure frequency 132.8.
Can't even read my own handwriting sometimes. Very good, 6010 on the squawk, Transat 11. Thank you.
Roger, call ready for taxi information Tango.
Does this sim run smoother than XP11? I'm looking to get into flying and keep bouncing back and forth between the side of these two. I'll be honest, I don't have really any experience with XP11, so I couldn't compare performance on my computer. I don't know which one necessarily runs better on my computer. The problem with P3D is that I have loaded it down with lots of different add-ons that are running at the same time. Even Track IR uses up a fair bit of processing power. I'm running a very intense airplane. I'm running PMDG's NGXU. It's a very intense airplane, so it really slows the processor right down. I thought I shut off that FMC in the corner. So as far as X-Plane 11 running better, I don't know. I couldn't tell you, I'm sorry. I can say that the new Microsoft Flight Simulator runs a lot better than P3D does. That I can tell you for sure because I've been testing it out, and I've got frame rates that are triple, quadruple what I'm getting right now easily in the new Microsoft Flight Simulator. Again, there's no add-ons in that, and as we start putting in add-ons, it's probably going to slow it down. It's probably going to start to get worse again. But as of right now, crystal clean. I'm finding it almost difficult to use this sim because I am so used to it going. I'm so used to the sim being so smooth. I was playing with the new flight simulator earlier today, and it's so smooth, and this is just such a poor frame rate going on in this thing right now. And I can do some stuff to improve my computer, sure. I bought a new processor this year, and the video card's quite a few years old now, so it's not the best. Definitely needs an upgrade sooner than later, but let me see if I can do something here. Alright, I tweaked it a tiny bit. Hopefully it'll run a tiny bit faster now. Okay. Are you ready for the takeoff briefing? Are you ready for the departure briefing?
Go for it.
Well, thank you. Maybe like to say go for it. Okay, where am I here? I guess I should pull up some charts here. Charts at navigraph.com. As always, Navigraph charts still going to be my go-to for a long time here. That was a flight I did last week. Stand by while we load this week's flight. There we go. There it is. Toronto. Alright, so airport info. There's 10-9. Yeah, that's the thing I really like about P3D, and you miss right away when you go into another sim is the add-ons that you've gotten very used to having, and there's some that I am so used to having right now that I can barely even imagine life without them. And GSX is one that I really enjoy. Even FS2 Crew now, I've become very, I won't say dependent upon it, but I really like it. It's a very useful tool. So yeah, it's very hard, and especially going back to the default airplanes in Flight Simulator are not as good as like this Flight Tampa scenery. This Flight Tampa scenery is absolutely gorgeous. You pay for it with the performance penalties, but it's absolutely gorgeous. But even the detailed airplanes in the new version are not great, but it's a great base that developers are going to be able to add to, and that's what I'm looking forward to. Alright, so today we're going to be taxiing out, first of all, In the event of any problems or abnormalities during taxi, we'll stop. This will be a left seat takeoff. Any malfunctions prior to the V1 of 133. We'll call stop or go. If the call stop, hold thrust levers, apply maximum brake, disconnect the auto throttle, apply maximum reverse, and stop on the runway. You'll monitor deceleration. You'll verify reverse monitor deceleration. Call 6 knots. Advise ATC. Mayday, mayday, mayday. Transat 11 stopping on the runway. If the call is go or right above V1 and continue to take off at 400 feet, call heading mode and ask you to identify the failure. The emergency turn off runway 23 is to go to 5.5 DME from YTP, which we should probably put in the FMS just as a reference. So let's go fix YTP. If I can type YTP, and when we get to 5.5 DME, I don't think I can do a decimal. I'm pretty sure I can't do a decimal on this, or can I? Oh, I can do a decimal on this. Nice. Okay. 5.5 DME from YTP, we make a left turn heading 200, retract the flaps above 1600, and continue up to the MSA of at least 3000. Let's see, so now back to the charts. Taxi out today. It's going to be, we're at Charlie 27, so we're in the Terminal 3 apron. Pull up the airport chart, there it is. We're at Terminal 3 apron, we're probably going to go at Alpha Juliet up Alpha Hotel. Hold short runway 23. The only hotspot on the way to 23 is don't turn on to Quebec without permission from ATC. Read that one many times before. It's like I know these departures well. The dead key for departure off of 23 in Toronto 10-3 Charlie, effective on the 30th of January of 2020. Radars required. Let's see here. And the rest of the notes are pretty standard. Simultaneous departures are possible. Jet aircraft only. Verify that the GNSS is working with the CDI properly. For the runway 23 procedure specifically, unless otherwise signed by ATC, climb heading 237 to get to 1100 feet, then a right turn heading 245 as assigned, expect radar vectors to savor or as assigned, and proceed via the depicted route. And the depicted route today is, if I can pull up my FMS again here, hold on, there it is. And it is, after savor, it's Seek It, dead key. And then we go to, I believe it's Sannin, aircraft plan above 250, make sure you can be there at above 250, which we're going to be at 330 by the time we get there according to the FMS planning, and Miglo is the final fix of this departure. Unless I was signed by ATC, maintain 5,000. So we got the 237 bug set, we got the clearance from ATC, so we're gonna go ahead and set 5,000. And before I forget, we're also going to set the squawk code, 6010. And that's about it. Terrain around Toronto 3100 is the highest MSA. It's not too much of an issue. Weather is VFR. It's not too bad out here today. Operational. Just a lot of taxiway construction in Toronto, so follow ATC instructions carefully to avoid the closed areas. And no MELs or other issues with the aircraft. And that's all I got. Noise abatement in Toronto, no turns below 3600. Any questions?
No questions.
Very good. Pre-flight checklist.
Pre-flight checklist. Oxygen.
You know, look at it tested. Tested 100%.
Tested 100%. Navigation transfer and display switches. Normal, auto. Window heat, on. Pressurization mode selector, auto. Flight instruments.
Heading 118. Altimeter 29er89er.
Checked. Parking brake.
Set.
Engine start levers.
Cut off.
Pre-flight checklist complete.
Check. Alright, so that's all done. We're just about ready to go here. We're going to start the APU. Fuel pumps are already in the on position, so that's fine. Here goes the APU. I think we're just about done. Well, I think we're pretty sure we finished fueling a while ago. Thought I saw the guy bring us the ticket. Yeah, there we go. We're almost done here. Let's fast forward a little bit through the process. And here comes the
load sheet for you.
Thank you. Yep, we got an arrival controller, so 32 228 will probably be the next frequency. And I think we're just about ready to go. So let's just check pilot's light first of all and make sure that it is on the current flight page, because that'll make sure it logs automatically. Alerts. Oh, you know what? I got paid.
Watch out for your leg, please.
He's going to set the trim wheel right now, so he tells me to watch my leg. I got $108. I didn't do a whole lot of flying in August. That new sim came out, and I was all over that like a fat kid on candy. I had to have it. I had to play it.
Verify takeoff speeds.
I have to say, it's not too bad. I have a bank account balance now. I got $1,000. I might actually be able to buy some stuff in the shop sooner or later here. $1,000. I think I could buy something for that, right? I could buy a mobile phone, which will give me experience bonus. Experience flight point bonus. You know what? Let's do that right now, because that'll even get us 10% experience point bonus on this flight. Let's do that right now. Yes, I want to spend $990 on my cell phone. And then I go to my dashboard, check my inventory. I should have a cell phone, which in combination with my flight bag will now give me a 15% bonus. Plus I get another 5% for the early adopter bonus. So I have 20% experience point bonus, so I'll get even more experience points when we finish this. There seems to be an error in my bank account, though. I have $39.43.00001. I have like a tiniest fraction of a penny as well there. That's kind of funny. Usually the software works pretty well. Anyways, we're going to go to the current flight page to make sure it starts automatically as we finish this. And, yeah, I think we're just about done here, so let's fast forward a few minutes. Alright, we got master caution here. I think we just got doors. Some other things here. Control the light. Alright, we got the APU on, so let's get that going there. Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead.
Please disconnect external power.
Roger. Disconnecting the GPU.
Verified. Oh. Verified. So we're a little bit lighter than planned. But that's fine. That's good.
Captain, the GPU is disconnected.
Thank you.
Hey guys, all passengers are on board. Are we cleared to close?
Go for it. Thank you. It'll be a short taxi. Thanks. Thank you.
Let me know if you need anything.
Sometimes getting that trigger word in there is a little bit challenging. Alright, closing up. Let's get ready to push. Just waiting for that door to close. And FS2 crew, I think, should close it and retract the jetway on its own. I believe. Yes, there it goes. Perfect. There goes the jet bridge, which means we're now going to get our tug. We're going to be all good.
Hello, Captain. We're ready for pushback.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead.
Can we pressurize the hydraulics?
Roger. You're clear to pressurize the hydraulics.
Before start checklist to the line.
Before start checklist to the line. Fuel 6.5 tons. Pumps on. Passenger signs on. Windows.
Locked.
Locked. MCP.
Speed 136, heading 237, altitude 5,000.
Checked. Takeoff speeds.
Nope. Just making sure we get a good start position here.
Departure check completed.
V1131, VR132, V2136.
Checked. CDU pre-flight.
Complete.
Completed. Rudder and aileron trim.
Free and 0.
Taxi and takeoff briefing.
Complete.
Before start checklist completed to the line.
Check. And before start checklist below the line.
Flight deck door closed and locked. Anti-collision light on. Before start checklist complete.
Release parking brakes. Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will.
And we're off, ladies and gentlemen, on another leg. Start sequence is 1 and 2.
Check.
Start engine 1.
Starting 1.
We now request your full attention as the flight attendants demonstrate the safety features of this aircraft. When the seatbelt sign illuminates, you must fasten your seatbelt. Insert the flat metal clip to the buckle and pull on the loosen strap to tighten it up. To release your seatbelt, lift the upper portion of the buckle. We suggest that you keep your seatbelt fastened through
Toronto Tower, this is United 495. Good evening. We'd like to pick up our IFR to LaGuardia.
2 forward, 2 aft, and 2 over each wing. Please take a moment to locate the exit nearest you.
United 495, Tower, good day. You're clear to LaGuardia Airport by skip the departure.
25%.
Rapid transition, flight
Fuel.
plan route. Departure
Fuel on.
23.
Handle and direct.
Squawk 5642.
Equiped with an inflatable slide, which may also be attached to the
Clear to LaGuardia, VD Captain 2 departure, bound to transition, expect runway 23 for departure, squawk 5642, United 495.
in front of you.
United 495, read back is correct. Push and start your discretion. Call for taxi. Departure frequency 132.8.
And breathe normally. Although
Yeah.
the bag does
Alright, push and start at pilot's discretion.
Because I was having issues
Departure
with webcam, I rebooted the computer, so I forgot to select the aircraft here. So there we go.
Yep.
Selected. Flight
Starting
start.
head out. VNAV.
uniformed crew member advises you to remove it. In the event of an emergency, please assume the bracing position. Lean forward.
Start
with your
engine
hands
2.
on top of your head and your elbows
Starting
against your
2.
thighs. Ensure your feet are flat
Set
on the
parking
floor.
brakes.
You misheard me there. Thought I said something about VNAV when I was just talking about what's going on there.
Open the plastic pouch.
Toronto Tower, good evening. Air Canada 429er with you with information Tango requesting IFR to Ottawa.
Waiting for a good start before we confirm it to our ground crew.
Air Canada 429, Tower, good day. Air Canada
for
Ottawa Airport,
25%.
6 departure. L sub transition, flight plan route.
There it
Departure
is.
runway 23.
Starting number
Squawk
2.
5623.
Pull the cushion from the seat.
Fuel on.
Arms to the straps.
Fuel valves open.
Roger,
Fuel
clear
flow.
6L sub transition.
Here
Expect
comes light
runway
off.
23 squawk 5623 for Air Canada
And 1 and
429.
2 are accelerating.
Air Canada
Well, pressure
429,
is
back is correct. Push and start
rising.
your discretion. Call ready for taxi. And departure frequency 132.8.
Departure frequency 132.8. We'll call.
Please don't hesitate to ask one of our crew members. We wish you all an enjoyable flight.
And if you guys feel like that background audio is too loud, let me know. I'm always trying to find the right balance between the background audio being loud enough to hear, but also at the same time, not so quiet that you can't hear it. It destroys the immersion if you can't hear any of the sound at all. Especially with the ATC interactive VATSIM, you want to hear what they're saying as much as what I'm saying. Yeah, maybe you want to hear me a little bit more. Oh my gosh. I just noticed this. Look here, guys, at P3D, look in the distance. And what do you notice about the trees down there?
Unlocking gear.
It's September now, and thus the trees have turned. Thanks.
Tow truck disconnected.
Appreciate it. Sometimes it's so hard to judge how the audio balance is working out in stream, so I appreciate always appreciate feedback about that. The trees have started to turn already in P3D. What a sad day. Winter's coming. Well, at least it'll be perpetually summer in Microsoft Flight Simulator for the time being. I hope season comes soon, though, because I like that immersion, too.
Ride is clear.
Way to drive right through your coworker. Okay, he's good. Flaps 15.
Flaps 15.
And then a flight control check. Elevators. And for some reason, this always starts in the down position. I don't know why. I don't like it in the down position. I'd like to see it move. Ailerons. And rudder. Before taxi checklist.
Before taxi checklist, generators on. Probe heat on. Anti-ice off. Isolation valve auto. Engine start switches continuous. Recall, checked. Auto brake, RTO, engine start levers,
Idle detent.
flight controls.
Checked.
Dispatch clearance,
Checked.
checked. Before taxi checklist complete.
That's one thing that I missed in the new sim. Clear on the left. Clear on the left.
Clear right.
Set taxi light to on.
Taxi light on.
One thing I missed in the new sim, when you tap the brakes, it doesn't automatically release the parking brake anymore. You always have to hit the parking brake lever or the parking brake button to do it. And it's not a bad thing per se, but I'm just so used to tapping the brakes to release the parking brake that not having that ability now is a little bit odd. I find also switching back and forth between the two sims, which I have been doing a fair bit now. I have been switching back and forth between the two sims a fair bit, and so different key bindings are also starting to annoy me too. On our ground, Transat 11 coming up on Alpha Juliet.
Transat 11 Tower, wind 150 at 7, altimeter 2989er, taxi Alpha, Hotel, hold short, runway 23.
Alpha, hold short 23, Transat 11, and we have information Tango. Okay. So Alpha, Hotel, and hold short at 23, right turn here on Alpha. So question, do the V4 P3D add-ons work in P5? And the answer is generally yes, especially airports for the most part. You can probably get an airport from version 4 into version 5 without any real issues. Version 5 had some nice features, and some of the developers have upgraded their airports to support version 5 and take advantage of these features. But most simpler products, scenery being the main thing, will generally, what works in version 4 will probably work in version 5 without too much addition. Aircraft, little bit more troublesome. You'd have to check specific add-ons to see if they work with version 4. Add-ons work with version 5. A lot of the really most popular stuff did get updated for version 5, and I was so close to buying version 5 myself, but because Microsoft announced the launch date, thank you. Because Microsoft announced a launch date to their sim, I held off on buying version 5, and I may still one day invest in version 5. It depends on how fast the developers can get products into the new Microsoft Flight Simulator, because the airports are coming fast and furious already. There's a good dozen or so major airports that have been released already, but it's the airplanes. The airplanes are what are killing the sim for me right now. The small piston stuff, it flies pretty well, but anything much bigger than like the 172 the aerodynamics are not great, the handling characteristics are not great, and the third-party developers are going to need to step up. And that's one thing that they have not. There have been no third-party airplanes released yet, except for a Coronado 182, which doesn't really count as a third-party airplane because they're such poorly modeled. Like the visual models are wonderful, but the systems model, the aerodynamics, that sort of thing, the handling is not at all up to par in the Coronado aircraft. So I don't really count that really as a quality airplane that's been released for P3D, or I mean for Microsoft Flight Simulator. So I'm curious to see what will be the first airplane. What will be the first real in-depth systems airplane that gets released in Microsoft Flight Simulator? Who's going to make it to market first? I don't think anyone is really that close at this point. I haven't heard any rumblings about anybody being close.
Toronto Tower, Air Canada 429 requesting taxi to runway
Aerosoft
23.
seems to be one of the ones that they're working on. The RJ is being worked on, so that one's going to probably be adapted, ported over sooner than later. Most of the other developers are sort of they're not even posting like dates, not even like targets. Like the only one that I saw like really had much of a target was PMDG was targeting first quarter of next year.
Altimeter 2989 for Toronto, Air Canada 429.
Yeah, they're targeting first quarter at least of next year, if not even later than that. And those are the only ones that have even really given much inkling. There's lots of aircraft that are being worked on, and most of the developers want to support the new sim, but it's a very different animal, so it's going to take a long time to adapt their products to the new sim. So it's going to be a while before we see new airplanes, unfortunately.
Yeah, the 495 Tower, Roger. You're about to make that
before
right
takeoff
turn to
checklist.
Alpha Lima.
before takeoff checklist.
Affirm.
Flaps.
United 495, roger. Taxi Alpha Lima.
Flaps 15, green light.
Hotel, hold short 23, altimeter 2989er.
5.5 units.
Hotel, hold short 23, and the altimeter 2989, United 495.
Alright, one last check.
11, are you fully ready?
Affirmative, we're ready, Transat 11. Just make sure this is tracking.
Transat 11, roger. Wind 150 at 7, clear takeoff, runway 23.
Clear for takeoff, runway 23, Transat 11. Alright, cleared to go on 23. Before takeoff procedures.
Still no luck on your transponder. Can you try to turn it on again?
Yeah, absolutely. Give me 1 second.
Ready to go.
We can afford to now. We got it now. Thanks.
Clear on the left.
Yep, sorry I missed that. No problem. Thanks again.
Alright, here we go. Set takeoff thrust.
Check. Thrust set. $80 knots.
Checked.
V1, rotate.
Right, Transat 11, contact departure. Okay, actually, arrival, sorry, 132.8, correct?
Positive rate.
Gear up. Heading. Select heading mode. Select
Checked.
heading select.
Heading select.
Heading 245.
Checked.
Set heading 245.
Heading 245. Set.
And over to departure for Transat 11.
Roger, see it.
Not going to really answer a radio call on that rotation. Sorry, but I'm not. Set speed 220. Swap COM 1.
Roger. Speed 220. Set.
Flaps 5.
Flaps 5.
Toronto departure, hello, Transat 11, 3,900, climbing 5,000, dead key for departure.
1011.
Check.
Transat 11,
Flaps
Toronto,
1.
Toronto arrival, good evening.
Flaps
You're
1.
identified. Turn left direct saver on course, climb flight level 230.
Left direct saver on course, climb flight level 230, Transat 11. So let's just do this really quickly here because my FO can't do this part. Select LNAV.
LNAV.
Flaps up.
Flaps up.
Set flight level 230. I should have the autopilot on now, but I don't want to. I enjoy hand flying. Wow. The scenery looks so crude now compared to Microsoft Flight Simulator.
230. Set.
Checked. Set speed 230.
Speed 230. Set.
After takeoff checklist.
After takeoff checklist. Engine bleeds, on, packs, auto, landing gear, up and off, flaps, up, no lights. After takeoff checklist complete.
Check. Set speed 250. Set speed 250.
Happy to release the cabin crew?
Yes.
Speed 250 set.
Select VNAV.
VNAV.
VNAV speed.
Check.
Short departure, good day, United 495.
Select Command A.
2000.
Command A.
United 495, Toronto arrival, good
Command.
evening. You're identified, climb 7,000.
Up to 7,495.
That was kind of fun doing some hand flying. I do enjoy doing that from time to time. Here's the 10,000s. Lights off. Pressurization. Yeah, pressurization checks. Got a differential of 4. Cabin altitude's at about
Check.
1,500, 2,000, and now it's climbing. Well, it's definitely not as...
Release the cabin.
Yes.
United 495, turn left direct Saver on course, climb flight level 230.
Well, definitely doesn't look as nice as Microsoft Flight Simulator, sadly.
Saver is not appearing on our SMC 495. We're able, Rykem, Kepta, or anything after that.
All right, United 495, Saver should be the first waypoint on the departure, but you can turn right direct Rykem in that case on course.
Alright, right direct Rykem on course, United 495 and up to 320, you said.
It was flight level 230.
230, my mistake.
Alright, how's the outside temperature? Outside temperature's okay. Let's pull up the weather radar and just make sure nothing's sneaking up on us here. I don't think anything. Doesn't look really that bad in any of these clouds. Alright, we'll throw the stations up there just to see. And we're on our way. For what is going to be a pretty short, relatively short leg of the pilot's life tour here. Well, definitely the Sims are definitely a different color now that the fall colors have kicked in. It's September, so it's fall now in Toronto. Although apparently tomorrow it's going to be, next couple of days are going to be a pretty hot couple of days actually in Toronto. But in the simulator it is now triggered over to fall. I do miss flying a good airplane like this, though. One that handles the way it's supposed to, has the feel of an airliner, and has the complexity of systems that I enjoy. I really, to me, flying is as much about the airplanes as it is about looking out the window. And the airplanes in the new sim are, for the most part, lacking, except for the most basic airplanes. The 150 felt pretty good, I've got to say. Actually, it felt pretty darn realistic when I was flying around in the 152, but the airliners, very.
11, contact Toronto Center 125.77. Good day.
Toronto Center 125.77, Transat 11, good day.
Transition.
Standard set. Standard set. Set standard.
Standard set. Passing flight level 189. Now.
Yeah, pretty close. Toronto Center, good afternoon. Good evening, Transat 11's with you. 192, climbing flight level 230.
Transat 11, Toronto Center, good evening, climb flight level 330.
Climb flight level 330, thank you very much. Transat 11. Flight level 330 is set. And away we go. Got a little bit of weather painting over there. Nothing crazy though. Had some really nasty weather the other day going down to Washington real world. It was just unbelievable. Just a line of storms that not a hole that you could poke your way through. Going from Toronto to Washington, and we pretty much flew to Philadelphia to get around it before we came back around the other side and came back towards Washington. Added a good like 20-25 minutes to our flight at least. But we were kind of lucky we got through there when we did, because it just kept on moving over towards the Washington area, and by the time we were landing in Washington, everyone else coming in was, at least from the north, was being held. There was no way in, and they were just waiting for the weather to pass. So I wonder how many people ended up getting diverted that day. I think we lucked out that we did not. I'll just get rid of that right now so we don't have to see it.
Checked. Approach briefing.
I don't need any checklist right now, thank you. Out there, any other weather out there that we're painting? Because it is supposed to be a bit of a rainy evening in Toronto, but I don't think it's moved in yet. It looks like it's all pretty much to the east of us, or to the west of us still. So it'll be chasing us towards Montreal, but as long as we avoid it, I'm happy with that. Yeah, painting a little bit on the radar there, but nothing much. Turn that background noise down a little bit, because I feel like the sound of the airplane now is getting quite loud and overpowering there. Here we go.
Good day, this is United 495 climbing through.
The question is, will we have ATC when we land in Montreal? And I think the answer is no, unfortunately. There was some earlier, but I think it's logged off now. Yeah, there's nothing. Actually, no, that's not true. There is a tower, at least in Montreal, so that's good. If that's still just hitting refresh. Yeah, there's a tower in Montreal. Okay, good, good. That is a... well, you know, you take what you can get, right? You won't get everything every time in the VATSIM world, but you take what you can get when you get some ATC. Some full ATC for departure in Toronto, because Toronto, you guys never fail. You're always around, and you're always providing some good quality ATC, so always grateful for that. Montreal has been very good lately, but everyone has a life to go to, their own work, their own job, their own thing, so not complaining that there's only a tower online. It would be nice to have some vectors on the final, but not to worry. At least we'll have an ATIS by the time we get a little closer, and we'll be able to pick a runway and everything that's appropriate. Looks like we got decent time in cruise today too. It's nice flying the 3-7, because the 3-7 can do these hour-long flights, and it's such a good, powerful airplane. It climbs up to altitude relatively quickly, and you've got some time in cruise. You compare that to some of the other regional jets, and they're such poor climbers, such weak engines, relatively speaking, in those airplanes that you end up having like very, very, very short cruise segments for some of these shorter flights. Like lately we've been doing a lot of Toronto to Ottawa hops, and it ends up being like literally 2 to 3 minutes in cruise, sometimes less than that. So if you're not preparing for your approach while you're climbing out, you're not going to have enough time to get prepped and briefed. It looks like Montreal has just scrolled into view on my vPilot window here, so I'm just going to check the ATIS right now and start getting a heads up on what we're doing in Montreal. So information is X-ray, 30 miles of light rain showers, 4,500 overcast. Winds are out of the southwest, 190 and 13, 22 and 16, 30.01 on the meter. Set that now. And ILS 24 right, departures 24 right. 24 right? What? They finally got 24 right up and running? It's only been like 9 months. It's been like a year, I swear, since the last time 24 right was in use. I'm just going to do a quick little NOTAM search and verify that this is all correct. Because, yeah, it's very... It'll be useful, because come winter you want these things available to you, but it's almost surprising. It's been a long time since 24 right has been open in Montreal. Like a very, very, very long time. Yeah, 6 right, 24 left is closed. So I guess they finally have opened up 24 right again. It seemed like they finished paving it last year and they just kept it closed for no apparent reason for a long time. So 24 right. Having a quick look at the NOTAMs here, see if there's anything of any importance. For 24 right, no, there does not appear to be anything of reports for 2-4 right. The low DME is just the low vis procedure is not authorized. Taxi echo still closed.
United 495, leave my airspace to the south. Cleveland Center's offline. Radar services terminated. Monitor advisory. Have a great flight. All right, over to you,
right.
2028. Thanks for your service. Have a great night, United 495.
Okay. Well, then we're just going to change this up, I guess, in the FMC.
Toronto Center, American 300.
So let's make sure we do this first.
American 300, Toronto Center, good evening. Squawk 0556.
ILS 24 right by DFs 4. Oops. Execute.
1011.
Checked. And we're just going to just zoom out a little
American
bit
300, you're identified. Welcome aboard.
more. Don't see any discons on there yet. What we can also do is we can go to plan page.
Would you like to fasten seatbelt sign to auto?
There. Did it myself, thanks. Just stepping through. And yeah, I don't see any discons in there, 2-4 rights in there. Okay, good. Okay, that's all in there, so we can go back to map mode. That all looks good. Leveled off, 330, and that's it. So today we don't have a whole lot of time in cruise, but if you want to talk about anything in particular, guys, I'm always willing to talk about it. If not, then I'm going to drone on about the new simulator because I really have been enjoying it. I think it's a great sim. I think it's a great start, you know, and I don't think it's perfect by any means. And yeah, this is again, something that really kind of has blown me away. Some of the negative comments about the sim. And yes, it's not perfect, and some of these comments are justified. I think the installation process was a bit cumbersome. That could have been much better designed than it is. Having to start the game and then you get to watch it download for hours, and the fact that it's so error prone. It does bug me a little bit. It does feel like this was beta software. That this is not really. It doesn't feel like this was really ready for the prime time. So much stuff is missing. When you go through some of the airplanes and it's got the checklist included, oftentimes it may just be one short checklist. It may just be like an engine start checklist and no, like, you know, before takeoff checklist, before landing checklist, nothing like that. It feels like a lot of checklists need to be added. Documentation should have been added. Like, there's no documentation about the aircraft anywhere. You have to just, you know, search the internet to find like what's an appropriate approach speed, power setting for various aircraft. You know, you may know it from previous, but they should have some basic information about all the airplanes they have in the sim available to you. So I find a lot of stuff is missing. Information is missing. You're really kind of left to your own devices to figure out what's going on there, and that's a bit unfortunate and a bit annoying because it really should not be like that. You know, this is especially for what they're charging for the sim, but you know, especially if you're trying to get people into this, get non-simmers into this. They need to be able to access the information and understand it easily, and that's one thing that, again, I find that a lot of the sim caters a bit too much to casual gamers, and I you know, and some of them might turn into serious simmers over time. So I'm not trying to drive them away per se, but I think they've swung it a little bit too far into making it super accessible for all the regular users. But then at the same time, like, oversimplifying the interface so much that the most basic stuff is not there, like the altimeter settings. You can't even find what the altimeter setting is set to in the weather settings. You can't even look it up, let alone, you know, if an airport has an ATIS, you might be able to tune it in, or if you talk to ATC, maybe the automated ATC may get it, but like, you should be able to go into the weather page and just look and just see what the altimeter setting is so you can set it yourself. If you're not talking to the ATC system, because the ATC system really is kind of garbage. It's really kind of useless. It's no better than the one that was included with FSX and P3D. It's just very basic scripting that does not do a good job of setting you up for approaches or anything like that. The phraseology is terrible. It's horrible. It doesn't really conform to the normal phraseology at all. It's really just, I hate to say garbage, but the ATC system especially, it's garbage. The synthesized voice is very smooth in that it translates the text very well, and it sounds very I won't say it sounds fairly natural. But the script is being given to say is nonsensical in a lot of cases. So I have real problems with certain aspects of the sim. The ATC system is just garbage. There's no improvement on the previous system other than just simply adding a good voice synthesis to it. But there's no improvement on that. You would have expected, like, you know, they could have done something a little better than they've done. I was disappointed by that. You know, and I wasn't expecting miracles, but I was expecting something better. So I can't wait to get into VATSIM on that sim and really get some good ATC back, because the include ATC is just terrible. Anyways, let's do this. Let's get ready for the descent here. Let's start setting up for the descent.
Check.
He likes that command. Alright, so we've got the flap 30 speed in there. We're going to be doing the ILS 24 right in Montreal. I have not done the ILS to this runway in 2 years, I think, because it's been under construction for a year. So let's see here. Montreal, charts list. Okay, so we're doing the s04e arrival. We're doing the ILS 24 right. And we're going to taxi in. I don't know what gate we're going to go to, but I'll find one later. Parking spots and airport. So for now, what we're interested in really is the ILS 24 right, because I want the frequency 111.9 and 237. So 111.9. 237. Set course on your side 237. The race is on. Who's going to get there first? I win.
Check.
He checks that I win.
237 set.
Alright, 237 set. And then the minimums of the other thing I need to steal from this chart here, more than anything, 306. ILSDA 306. Here it is, ILSDA 306. 306. That's good. That's good. Okay, I think we're good. Yeah. Are you ready for the approach briefing?
Ready.
Alright, first of all, I'm going to pull up a whole bunch of stuff here. I'm going to pull up the... Oop, not that. Why do I keep pressing that button? There we go. I'm going to pull up the FMC so we can follow along in the FMC and make sure everything is there. Just going to pause the track IR so it doesn't get all jumpy on you. Okay, going into legs, and alright, so we are going to be doing today the s04e arrival into Montreal, 10-2 Charlie, effective on the 30th of November 2018. Bold notes are the equipment notes, 100 miles safe, 7400, and this note, non-GNSS airplanes doesn't apply. We're on our way to Miglo. After Miglo, we're going to cross Rideau at or below 330, which we're at right now already. Then we go to Epmok at or below 240 for the 24s. Yes, that's in there. RV, and then Abs at or below 16,000. Komau, Bevku at or below 9,000. Agnag, Titus max 210 below 4,000. And last but not least, we do Maxod at max 210 between 4 and 3. And Ovuvi. After Ovuvi, we carry on the 2057 track until we get vectored around 4 and ILS to runway 24 right, which is something I have not seen in a long time. This is gonna actually be kind of fun. Who knew they would get it back on there? Let me just finish this briefing and then I'll respond to the chat comments there. So ILS 24 right today in Montreal, effective on the 20th of June of 2019. 11-5, the localizer is 111.9, and the inbound course 237. We set that already. Glide slope at Volax 1520, and the ILSDA is 306. We've set that as well. Touchdown zone at 106. 1 second, I'm just going to unpause my track IR and just verify. Yep, 100 feet there on the pressurization for our landing altitude. MSA highest is northwest of the Montreal VOR, 3,300 feet. Missed approach is to climb straight ahead to 3,000 feet on a heading of 237. When we reach 3,000, make a right turn direct to Montreal VOR and hold there with a direct entry. Radar RNF required, 100 miles safe, 7,400, a low reliable only with a 10-degree center line. Proceed to turn not authorized. Simultaneous approach is authorized with the left side. 3-degree glide slope, SSLR lighting system, and as I said, 306-foot minimums, RVR 2,600 or half mile. It's a beautiful day in Montreal as well, so that should not be an issue. Well, it's not beautiful. It's raining slightly, but not a big deal. Once we land on 24 right, it's convenient right turn off the runway. Echo's closed, so we're going to plan to roll to Bravo 2 and then Bravo 2 cross runway 28 to Foxtrot. That's the hotspot. Make sure that we do have permission to cross 28 before we go into the apron. We'll find a gate shortly at the apron there. Let me think. So that's it. Terrain 3,400 feet, the highest MSA. Weather is a little bit of light rain, so we're going to do a distance calculation in a few minutes, but I think we should be fine at flaps 30. And operational, no temps for the 24 right side. 24 left is closed for the time being. No MELs on this aircraft. And fuel, we needed, what do we need? 2.4, I think, to go to, I forget what I put down there. 2.4, I think I said, to go to Ottawa. It's in the performance here. Reserves of 2.4, yes. And we're showing overhead with, oh, why did I make that go away? Here it is. We're showing overhead with
1-1, you leave my airspace to the east. Montreal center's offline. Radar services are terminated. Moderate advisory. Have a great landing.
So we got all that in there, and that's good. Okay, thank you very much off to Unicom for Transat 11. Appreciate the service. Have a good night. Okay. Any questions?
No questions.
Alright, so we're coming up to our top of descent here, so I'm going to go ahead and set in a lower altitude of, just go all the way down to 8,000.
2683, leave my airspace to the west. Cleveland Center's offline, radar services terminated. Monitor Unicom, have a good flight, sir.
Western 2683, going to Unicom, thanks for the...
22.8, and then Montreal Tower is online on 19.9. So we're going to get 19.9 ready to go. So we're on Unicom. 19.9 ready when we turn final Montreal. Alright, and I think that's about it. We pretty much set this up. The one thing I want to do actually quickly, because it's raining, we got to get some wet numbers. Let's do a distance calculation. Before I do the distance calculation, actually, let's go and just set up the units properly here. So menu, pilot utilities, I think it was under, no, maybe not, system page, application preferences, there it is. So weights I do want in kilograms, temperature I want in Celsius. Oh, it is all set up already. Excellent. Very good. Okay. So save. And we go menu, performance. We want show landing, and we want to show the en route landing. So airport search, CYYL, and I heard the engines shuttle down there, so we're definitely 24 right. Conditions, we're going to say wet runway. I'm going to say the wind, we're going to say is, show me the keyboard. I always just say 0 at 0. I always just say calm winds. Then any headwind component you've got actually improves your performance. Temperature in Montreal was 22 degrees. I got that from the ATIS, and a QNH of 30.01. And we're going to take no credit for the reversers. I always like to do a no credit prediction, and then that way you don't feel obligated to use all the reversers, but you can obviously use them. Air conditioning on, but anti-ice off. Brakes, let's do auto brake 2. Yeah, there he goes. And there is no normal configuration on this. Everything is functional. And last but not least, the landing weight. Again, come back here. The prog page should give us a landing. Nope. Where do we get the landing weight from? The landing. There it is. Approach page, 59,000 kilos. So 59,000 kilos. And I can hit calculate. And landing distance required without any thrust reverse at auto brake Level 2 is 7,900, almost 8,000 feet out of 11,000. Any reverse we use is going to just cut right into that. So even on a wet runway, we do have quite a bit of extra margin here. We got a 3,000 or 4,000 foot margin there. So I think we're going to be okay. All right, so there we go. So we're all set up. Let's just do the descent checklist. Let's start again.
Okay.
Descent checklist.
Descent checklist. Pressurization. Landing altitude is 10 feet. Recall checked. Auto brake. Level 2. Landing data.
VREF 141. Minimums 306 feet set.
Checked. Approach briefing.
Complete.
Descent checklist complete.
Alright, there we go. It's going to be kind of sunsetty. By the time we get down there, it's going to be sort of sunsetty, but hopefully you'll still see plenty out there. I backed up the time on this stream by about 2 hours just to still do it in daylight, because I don't mind flying at night, but from a streaming perspective, you just don't see very much. And the streaming, because of the quality of the video stream, tends to reduce the contrast even more, which tends to make it look like you're just flying through black space the whole time. So I don't like streaming night flying too much for that reason. Alright, so the question was, if you want to fly the jets and you want to fly the 777, then yes, PMDG is definitely the way to go if you're flying in the P3D platform, and I'm sure they're going to bring their airplanes, all of them, to Microsoft Flight Simulator over time. Not right away per se, but over time they'll all move over there. The 737 is going to be the first one. It's not going to release until the first quarter of 2021 at least, maybe even the second quarter, and I probably would not expect any of the other airplanes for probably a year after that. Yes, I do like the PMDG 777. I think it is a fantastic airplane. It's great to fly. It's a lot less work than this thing. This thing is just switches, dials, buttons, everything. The 777 is a very simple airplane to fly relative to the 37. Definitely a very solid two-crew airplane. And really, even just by yourself, even without FS2 crew, you can fly that airplane pretty well by yourself. But yeah, so I highly recommend that airplane. I think that's a great airplane. I think PMDG did a nice job on that. The Queen of the Skies, the 47 as well, is really good. I like all of their airplanes. They're all well done from so many different perspectives. The amount of ability to do everything in the flight deck that you can do in the real airplane pretty much, and then the ability to also do all sorts of other stuff within the PMDG product, so you can fail just about anything. If you go into PMDG setup, hit aircraft, failures, you can manually fail anything at any time if you want. I don't have manual, I'm not going to manually fail anything, but you also can have service-based failures, and that's one of the really neat things that I really like. As you fly the airplanes, as you put more hours on the airplanes, the parts in the airplane accumulate wear and tear, they accumulate hours, and the more hours they have, the more likely something is to fail at some point. It's not a guarantee, it's just a statistical model, so it's just random, but the longer you're flying your airplane for, but also the more you abuse your airplane, the sooner you might fail a part. So all these different parts they have, they're tracked, the wear and tear on them, and they can fail at random, but the longer you go with something, with a part, the longer you fly in the airplane, the more hours you put on it, the more likely it is to fail, which is really neat. I've always thought that's a really neat model. The only trouble with that, of course, is as a simmer, you can't put nearly enough hours into an airplane to really start failing stuff. But that's where, again, and I don't think it's in this airplane. Or is it? Aircraft. Where was failures? All systems. This is the one thing that's missing from the 37. It disappoints me a bit. It's in the 47 and the 777. There is a maintenance acceleration factor. Basically a multiplier that every hour that you put into the airplane is multiplied by this many hours on the components, so that instead of a single 3-hour flight being only 3 hours added, the multiplier I was using was 8. So I did a 3-hour flight, it add 24 hours to the wear and tear on the aircraft, so you're more likely to fail components eventually throughout your career. The rates that simmers fly, if they are the only ones flying the airplane, like when you fly for an airline, there are dozens of pilots flying the airplane. There's probably 4 different crews will fly an airplane in a single day, maybe more. When you're that's you know, when you add all that together, and that's every single day. You know, you add that all together, that's a lot of hours get put into that very quickly. Whereas simmers will not put the hours on the airplanes that quickly if they're flying them all by themselves. Yeah, the PMDG products do that. They track the wear and tear on each one. You have to turn it on. It's called service-based failures, so you have to make sure that that is turned on. So I have it yes there, so it is turned on. But it will track the wear and tear on the parts, and it will fail them at random. But the odds of a failure occurring increase as parts wear out, and the different parts are tracked as well in terms of each part's planned lifespan. So every part has an expected mean time before a failure, and that's what's programmed into the sim. Different parts, especially depending on what they do, more critical parts that are used more often, or maybe just you know, have more forces applied to them, are more likely to fail. Whereas something that's used very infrequently, with very light wear and tear on it, it probably has a much longer time before failure. It's much more likely to go a lot longer. So, you know, things like the, you know, gear and flaps and stuff that's stressed out by the airplane operations, especially if you overspeed flaps and stuff like that, then you may fail those parts sooner. Whereas parts that are very rarely used and that don't exactly have a lot of wear and tear, so maybe the icing system doesn't get used very much, so those parts are probably less likely to fail than the parts that are being used. So, what happens when all the parts fail or you break something? Well, you can do maintenance on the airplane too. So you can go back and you can fix anything that's broken, and you can do maintenance on the airplane. So again, where did I put it here? Hold on. So again, if you go into aircraft and you go into failures, if there is a failure, you can rectify those failures. So you can fix those particular failures. You can fix them in flight if you want, or you can wait till you get to your destination. I personally like to see the flight through, and then when I get to the destination, then the mechanics come out and fix it. And then you also have to do regular maintenance to your aircraft. So the next service on this aircraft due 212 hours of flying. Like, I may not fly that many hours on this sim in a year. So it's kind of a little bit, I wish the multiplier was there. But anyways. But then you can also service all. I'm not going to do it, but if you press the execute button, it would basically, it would do some maintenance to all the different parts and reduce the wear and tear on all the parts. So you can manually undo the failures. You can absolutely manually undo the failures if you don't like what's happened. But I personally like to follow it. They have the QRH, the Quick Reference Handbook, the Abnormal Emergency Checklist. Those are included when you buy a PMDG airplane, and you can follow them to the letter to try and handle the emergency, and I think that's a lot more fun. There's a challenge there, and you may have to divert a flight once in a while, and that's, again, part of the challenge. Set 3001. Transition, set 3001. Yeah, he doesn't know what we're talking about. Yeah, I've had a couple of planes that I've diverted over time because things did not work out the way they were supposed to. Not too often, though. But that's part of the challenge, is making those decisions on the fly while you're flying. Do you have enough fuel to get to your destination still based on the failure? Is there is there an inherent risk? If you have an engine failure, you're probably not going to continue to your destination unless you're almost there. Major system failures, you're going to divert to the nearest airport, land safely, and then let the mechanics deal with it. But maybe minor things, you might deal with it, like some sort of a pressurization issue. Or maybe one of the bleeds fails, but you've got the other bleed working, so you might continue on to the destination and then fix it when you get there. So it's part of that decision making. That's part of the joy of being a pilot, is making choices. What's gonna get me to my destination safest? And maybe we get to the destination isn't the safest option after all. Maybe you had a failure in the de-icing system, and then it's snowing at your destination. So no, we're gonna have to divert. We're gonna have to go somewhere else today. It's just the way it is sometimes. Just gonna get some lights on here. That's one of the things and that's what makes a PMDG aircraft so good, is that you have to take these things into account. You have to consider the impact of the failures, and is it safe to continue, or are we safer to stop, divert, return to our original
The cabin is secure.
return to our point of departure. You don't know, and there's no one formula. You got to weigh what's happened and decide what's best. See, and this is why I came back to flying P3D. I've been flying Microsoft Flight Simulator, and it's a good sim, but it's not great. There's shortcomings to it, and the airplanes in it are not great, and that's what I love about flying is the challenge of the airplanes as well, of handling the airplanes, handling whatever comes your way and dealing with it. The last time I did a stream from this series, I did a go around in Toronto because we were not stable. It wasn't we weren't stable. We just had a very long landing, and we floated right through the touchdown zone. We carried some extra speed because of the gusty winds. Floated right through the touchdown zone. We were probably about 4,000 or 5,000 feet down the runway and still hadn't touched down. And just did a go around. It just, I looked at it and it's a sim. I could have stopped and it probably would have gone off the far end and wouldn't have killed anyone in the sim because it's just a sim. But I try to use this to hone my skills and take this seriously. Make a realistic decision. So we did a go around. We came back. We did another approach. We came in just a tiny bit slower. We made sure that we helped plunk the aircraft down. But that's something to think about when you're carrying extra speed, especially because you're adding a little extra speed for the gusts. You can't flare too aggressively, or you will just float right through the touchdown zone, float halfway down the runway before you touch down. We've all seen the accident reports on what happens then. So the one thing about this hobby is you will get out of it whatever you put into it. You can if you want to just bomb around and look at the scenery, you could totally do that, and no one will fault you for it. You can go in and do it, have fun. But if you want to take it seriously, if you want to take it to the next level and try and manage the flights as realistically as possible, that's totally possible too. You can totally do that. Depends on the airplane, but a lot of these airplanes will support that level of realism, and you can add these background of these other add-ons. So what we're doing today is we're doing a pilot's life. So this is basically it's a simulation of a pilot career. You start working for an airline, you get assigned a schedule with a series of flights for that airline, and you have to fly them back and forth and fly them successfully, and then you get paid, and you can apply for other jobs, make progress throughout your career. It's just kind of a neat way to generate a schedule and generate some airline flights that have to be flown, that you have to do. So there's all sorts of neat things like that can add that next level of immersion. FS Economy is another great one that I've started using in Microsoft Flight Simulator because it works with Microsoft Flight Simulator. It doesn't bog it down, but it's a very TAT's still plus 17 degrees. We don't need the anti-ice stuff. And see, that's the kind of thing I'm thinking about. Like, I'm looking at the clouds out there. Is it below zero? No, it's not below zero. Okay, we don't need the anti-icing. We're okay. But these are the kind of things you want to consider. But yeah, you can do all sorts of things. You can do air hauler. There's an add-on called PAC-X, PAC-X, that basically simulates passengers in your airplane, and it simulates a whole plane load of passengers as individuals, and each individual has different wants and needs. They have different sensitivities to how fast or slow you make or how smooth you make your flying. Some people don't mind a rough ride, other people will complain, so you'll get scored on that, and so you can do your best to try and manage the airplanes that way. So there's all sorts of things. Whatever level of immersion you want to go for, this sim will allow it. And that's what I like about this hobby, is you can pretty much do whichever level of immersion you like. Alright, there's 10,000. Approach checklist.
Altimeters.
3001 set.
3001 set. Approach checklist complete.
Thank you. Alright, there he goes. It's getting kind of dark, so we're also going to throw the logo light on now. Oh, he already did that. Oh, good man. He already threw the logo light on for us. Good stuff. Alright, and we're passing... We're not abeam the airport yet.
1011.
We're going to go 6,000 feet for now. And we'll do that abeam the airport. Yeah, that'll work out really nicely. One thing I didn't do is I didn't actually pick a gate yet. So let's have a quick little look-see and pick a gate. So for gate picking, I always just love to use FlightAware and just pick a real gate that a flight similar to this one has used before. So CYYZ to CYUL. And Air Transat, the last time they flew this route here, which was today, they arrived at... Nope, don't have a gate assigned. And some airlines do not have good interactivity in that sense. Let's pick another flight here. Gate 47. So let's go to Gate 47 when we get to Montreal. So let's select Montreal, Gate 47, which is a pretty realistic gate for a domestic flight. And handling by Air Canada. Well, whatever. It's not GSX that adds the
1011.
check. It's not GSX that adds the talking flight attendants. It's actually FS2 crew that adds the flight attendants dialogue. And yes, there is different crew regions. So I got crew region US1 here. There are a variety of different accents. I don't think there's a Chinese one. I believe there's a couple of different European ones. Like a French and a British, might be an Australian one. It's all kind of English oriented, unfortunately. You could always ask if they could create one. Alright, let's go 4,000. But I'm also not sure if that changes just the co-pilot's voice or if that also changes the flight attendant voices. And I honestly, I don't know. I haven't really played with them too much. I have played with them a bit, but I really wasn't honestly paying attention, so I don't know if they changed the flight attendant voice or if it's only the co-pilot voice that changes in the different region settings. One airplane that does do it well is the Majestic Dash 8, because you can put in your own recordings, replace their recordings with your own. They're just stored as, you know, I believe they're WAV files within the aircraft's directories, and you can change them as you wish. You can record your own custom files. So I don't know, I have never played with it, but I wouldn't be surprised if you could probably do that with FS2 Crew. The only thing is there is a lot of different files, a lot of different dialogue you would have to pre-record to get it to work. Now we're going to do level change here, because I don't know why it's really powering up here. We should just keep going down here. Flaps 1.
Flaps 1.
Get the lights out. Now I know there was a restriction there. What was it? It was 210. Yeah, it was 210, so it's okay. We're doing 200. We're fine. Well, Montreal Tower is still there, so we should have hopefully some tower control at least when we turn final. It'll taxi in, and that'll be good. Not full end-to-end ATC. I honestly can't remember if the flight attendants are different. So, but like I said, like I have not looked at the file structure in FS2 Crew. There's a lot of different dialogue. So I don't know if it's all stored as one file or if it's stored as a bunch of individual files. I would hope it's stored as a bunch of individual files, because that would certainly make what you want to do. You know, change the voices. You may have to find somebody to record it for you. But I would hope that that's something that they've made accessible, that people can change and add it, because they do seem to add region packs from time to time. The best thing to do is go to the FS2 Crew website and check it out, and you know, talk to the developer in the forum. He may or may not be, you know, he'll give you the lowdown of how hard it would be and whether or not he's able and willing. You know, for a lot of these developers, they have to believe there's a market before they're willing to put the time and effort into a product, because a lot of them are very small development shops. There's sometimes just one person or just a handful of people doing these things. So there's a limit, obviously, to how much people can do, how much time they can spend developing different things, and if there's not going to be a market for what they're going to develop, then they won't do it. So you need to tell them that there's going to be a market. Flaps 5.
Flaps 5.
Loke, glide slope armed.
Check.
Loke. Altitude acquire.
Check.
A little bit hazy out here. Don't see the rain though they were talking about. A little bit of haze. Almost there. Just turning final now.
Localizer alive.
Checked. Here it is. Heading 237 is set. Oh, I just gotta adjust my seat. Been sitting in this too long already. One of the dangers of aviation, sitting in the same seat forever. Alright, and that's enough. Tour de Montreal, bonsoir. It's Transat 11 on the ILS runway 24 right.
Checked.
Transat 11, Tour de Montreal, bonsoir. Winds 180 at 11 knots. Clear to land runway 24 right. Plan to exit Bravo 2.
Okay, clear to land 24 right. We'll plan the Bravo 2 exit. Transat 11, merci. Alright, we're cleared to land. Miles final. Glide slope and the go around altitude is set. I never did set this guy up properly, did I? That's one thing I did not do. I didn't set him up, so we're going to say 306 is the minimums. Missed approach altitude is 3,000. And the crossing at Volax 1520. And if I put those things in there, he's going to be good. As the XES. Good. And there's the runway there. Perfect. Gear down.
Gear down.
Flap 15.
Flaps 15.
Brakes armed. Alright, I think we'll hand fly this approach for a little bit of practice. Let's demonstrate how good this FS2 crew does work. And one thing I will say, Track IR is probably one of the best things I ever got for the sim. Now, that being said, a friend sent it to me for free because he didn't need it anymore. But knowing, having used it, I think it's definitely one of the things that's most worthwhile. Just being able to look around without having to move my you know, using a hat switch or something else like that. That's wonderful. Autopilot's coming out. Flaps 30.
Flaps 30.
Set speed 146.
Speed 146. Set.
Landing checklist.
Landing checklist. Engine start switches.
Continuous.
Stable. Speed brake.
Checked. Armed.
Landing gear.
Down.
Flaps.
Flaps 30, green light.
Landing checklist complete.
Checked. Yeah, Track IR is one of the best investments. It wasn't, for me, it was an investment. I got it for free. It was such a wonderful thing. But knowing now, having used it, I would spend the money on it again. If it broke tomorrow, I would buy it again. Without hesitation. It just makes such a difference in this environment. So immersive, being able to look around so quickly and easily, being able to move your head forward to look at something carefully. it adds something that
Tour de Montréal, Air Canada 429 Alpha, prêt à circuler. Air Canada 429 Alpha, l'altimètre 3001, piste 24 droite, circuler la rampe sud, à droite pour la rampe nord, Echo, Bravo, et rappelez à l'écart de la
Landing.
droite.
Check.
Cleared.
Traverser la 28 à Echo. À l'ouest via la rampe sud, à droite via la rampe nord, on traverse 28 via Echo, Bravo, à l'écart 24 droite pour Air Canada 429 Alpha. Roger.
Speed break up. Reversers normal.
Tour de Montréal, bonsoir. Cessna Golf Charlie Sierra India.
it goes Echo.
Gulf Charlie
60
Sierra
knots,
India.
reversers
Tour de
are
Montréal,
stowed.
bonsoir, monsieur.
Oui, la tour Charlie Sierra India avec Zulu. On est chez Exeter. On serait prêt pour des circuits.
Auto brake disarmed.
Okay, turning left on Bravo 2.
Check.
Charlie Sierra India, autorisé pour les circuits, affiché 1007. Circuler Romeo, Lima, traverser la 24 gauche, Alpha 3, Alpha, Juliet, India, Echo, Bravo.
Guy has
et
an
la
almost
24
musical
droite.
voice, doesn't he?
Vous avez fait du tourisme.
Alpha Cat Alpha. I like it.
OK, code transpondeur 1007. On a bien compris, le Romeo Lima, on traverse la 24 gauche, ensuite Alpha 3 Alpha. Ensuite, on n'a pas suivi à partir de là.
Juliet, India, Echo, Bravo. Et rappelez à l'écart de la 24 gauche.
OK, Juliette, India, Echo, on rappelle à l'écart de la 24 gauche, Charlie Sierra India.
Transat 11's clear on Bravo 2.
Any gate in particular tonight, Transat 11?
Affirm gate 47, please.
So that will be Bravo 2, cross 28, Foxtrot, south ramp to gate 47.
Bravo 2, Foxtrot cross runway 28 on the south ramp for gate 47. Thank you very much. Transat 11, bonsoir.
Bonsoir, merci d'avoir volé Montréal.
Okay, so straight ahead crossing. Okay to clean up. Oh, need to unmute it. Okay to clean up.
Check.
Leave the strobes on because we're going to cross the runway.
Check.
Set landing lights to off.
Check.
Do it. Clear left.
Clear right. Check.
Okay to clean up.
Check.
You didn't hear me the first time, I guess. Set strobes to
Master
off.
Caution. Anti-ice. Strobes going off.
Since you're busy still doing that, I'm going to start the APU. Alright, that's the north ramp. Here comes the south ramp, gate 47, somewhere over there. Another airport I know all too well is Montreal. Yeah, no, it's funny because Quebec is one of the only places in the world that has bilingual ATC and is required by law to have bilingual ATC. A lot of other places they may speak the local language, but it's actually a legal requirement that ATC service in Quebec, in the province of Quebec, be provided in English and French, whichever language the pilot prefers. If you can't, for controllers, if they are not bilingual, they cannot provide ATC in the Montreal FIR in anywhere in Quebec. And it's very unusual because nowhere else in the world has that requirement where you're legally required to speak a language other than English. And yes, you do get a lot of French-speaking people here in Quebec. The controllers here obviously are all bilingual, but you will get plenty of pilots that will talk only French when they're in Quebec, when they're in Montreal or anywhere around. That's one of the things I love about VATSIM, though, is it takes a page from the real world. It is extremely realistic. As much as is reasonably possible, VATSIM tries to follow real-world procedures and policies. It's not always totally realistic to achieve, but they certainly aspire to do their best. Okay, 47 is one of the ones down here. I forget exactly which one it is, but I'm just looking for my marshallers and my baggage cart and everything. Oh, I think I see it down there. I could pull out the chart and check, but I'm pretty sure I see the where the stair truck is there. I think that's going to be our gate. If I can find my Navigraph, airport chart, gate 47. Yeah, it's the last one on the main part of the terminal here. Yeah, so yeah, that is where that guy's parked. Perfect. This is one of those. This is one of those interesting airports too, where the you really have to be careful with your big airplanes, because the big airplanes will not fit through this alley here. Anything bigger than a 37 or a 320 will not fit down this alley between the main part of the terminal and the Aeroquai over here on the left. So don't try and taxi your 777, even your 5 or 6-7 down here. They just won't fit. All right, there's the marshaller. So we're gonna say lights and doors.
3 minutes. Check.
He's gonna turn off the taxi lights so we don't blind the marshaller. Thank you. Tell the cabin crew to disarm the doors.
Cabin crew, disarm doors and cross-check.
And the one other thing I want to do as well is just turn on the overhead light as we
Doors
taxi into the
disarmed.
gate,
APU
so the
on
marshaller
bus.
can see us. You always want to have the dome light on at night when you're taxiing into a gate, so the marshaller can see you doing hand signals like when your brake is set and whatnot. Just a little bit aggressive on the brakes there. Right about there somewhere. Really? Still more to the right, buddy? Yeah, that's right. That's where you want me, right there. Alright, generators are off bus. Shutdown checklist.
Stand by.
Just wait for him to do his thing.
Charlie Sierra India, ça c'est l'Alpha Charlie. Juliette, c'est la suivante à votre droite.
Oui, c'est ça qu'on est en train de déterminer. Merci beaucoup pour votre aide.
Jetway does not want to work. Let's try this here. Sometimes it needs a reset.
À moins que vous vouliez faire un petit tour chez Air Canada.
On n'y tient pas, non merci, Charlie Randia.
Nos bureaux sont fermés à cette heure-là.
Raison plus.
Here it comes. Shutdown checklist.
Shutdown checklist. Fuel pumps, off. Probe heat, off. Hydraulic panel, set. Flaps, up. Parking brake.
Set.
Engine start levers,
Cut off.
weather radar.
I always forget that. Off. Off.
Off. Shutdown checklist complete.
And there we go. We are done. Let's request deboarding. And there we go, guys. We're done. We made it to Montreal safely. No major failures. No failures of any kind, really. It was a nice, quiet flight. But with some good ATC along the way, it's nice to fly the evening sometimes on VATSIM, because that's when it gets busy, and then you get good ATC, you get plenty of pilots and plenty of other traffic out there that you get to watch. So I really do enjoy the evening times. And it's a pity I can't do them more often, but I do try to do them whenever I can. So let's just check up our status here really quickly. Yep, there it is. The flight's we're no longer on the current flight page. There it is. We got our touchdown there, 34 feet per minute, 4.2 experience points still, a little bit more. We're getting that much closer to that 200 points where we're going to get our next promotion. We're going to get an increase in our pay, and get to the higher rank senior first officer. So that's it. That's all we've done for today. Don't have time for another one, but stay tuned, guys, to the channel. There's going to be some stuff happening. Probably might not be for another week or so before I get another stream in, but there's definitely going to be some stuff coming to the YouTube channel. I had some people ask about FS Economy. I made a video about FS Economy, as well as another Microsoft Flight Simulator video. This one will be on the channel soon too as well. So stick with the channel, subscribe to me on YouTube, because I got lots of stuff coming out nowadays, trying to get lots of time in the sim and try to show you guys everything that's out there that you can do, and how to try and make the most out of the sim and create a realistic environment for yourselves. So in the meantime, bonsoir everyone, good night, have a great evening, and we will see you guys all soon, really soon. Stay healthy and stay safe.